Hello friends, in this video I will explain all the information that you see in EC2 dashboard. So EC2 stands for Elastic Computing, and that is a service from AWS with which you can launch virtual machines in cloud, AWS cloud. So if you have an account, just log into your AWS account and then at the top in the search box search for EC2 and then just click on the first result and you will land on this particular page, and then you can click on EC2 dashboard, where it will display all the instances that you are running and other things as well. For example, elastic IPs, key pairs, placement groups, snapshots, volumes, security groups, load balancers, instances, dedicated hosts. So right now you can see that I am running one instance, EC2 instance. So just click on that and then it will give more information like instance ID, instance state type, etc. So to read this information, let me explain each and every column over there. So first is instance ID. So each instance that you launch will have unique ID so that you can differentiate between two instances. Then instance state. Instance can be in stop state or running state or terminated. So currently this instance is running. Then instance type, so this is T2.micro. So there are different instance types based upon memory and CPU. So if there are more CPUs, then instance type will be different. If there is more memory, then instance type will be different. So based upon that configuration, they have divided the instances in different types, and T2.micro is one of those instance types, and it falls under free tier. So if you want to sign up for the AWS for the free tier, then you can use this kind of instance type. The next one is status check. So if when you launch a EC2 instance, you want to monitor that EC2 instance, like all the applications are running, so something is not broken. So you can add those system checks or the status checks, and currently you can see that I have added two status checks and both of them are green. That means everything is fine on that EC2 instance. Then alarm status. So if anything goes wrong with the status checks, then alarms are fired, and currently it is saying 2 alarms, but it is green. So alarms were fired, but right now it is showing it as a green. That means everything is fine over there. Next one is availability zone. So you can see here there are different regions, US East 2. Then this particular instance is in this US East 2, this particular region, but inside the region there are different availability zones. Okay, so all you see here is these are the regions. So regions are basically geographical locations where this AWS cloud is located, and within that region there are different availability zones. So this particular EC2 instance is in this particular region, US East 2, and this BUC, that is called as availability zone. So there can be multiple availability zones inside a region. Next one is public IP4 DNS, then public IP4 address, elastic IP. So this instance has got elastic IP. What it means is that even if you restart your AWS EC2 instance, next time also you will get the same IP address. If you don't have elastic IP associated with EC2 instance, then every time you restart your EC2, you will get fresh new IP address. The next one is IP6 IP, which is not applicable. Monitoring is disabled. Security group name. So security group is very important. Every time you have a EC2 instance, it is important to have the security group associated with that EC2 instance, because within the security group, it's kind of a firewall. You can add different kinds of rules in that particular EC2 instance. So this security group is launch wizard 4. And inside that security group, we can have inbound and outbound rules. So for example, you can restrict IP addresses, you can restrict what applications or ports are open on your EC2, and so on and so forth. Next one is key name. So with EC2 instance, if you want to log into the EC2 instance using SSH, then you can have the SSH key pairs that you can generate before you launch the EC2 instance, and with that help of those SSH key pairs, you can log in through SSH into your EC2 instance and then perform a lot of other operations. And it is showing the launch time here. So launch time is the first time you launched that EC2 instance. After that you can restart your EC2 instance, so that time is not mentioned here. This is the first time when you launched your EC2 instance. Now to get more information about this EC2, what you can do is click on this instance ID and it will show more information. So IP4 address we have already seen, but you can see here it is also showing the private IP address, and then it is also showing the VPC ID, this virtual private cloud ID, then subnet ID is also being shown here. And down here some more information like the AMI, that is Amazon Machine Image ID, from which this instance was launched. So remember that for every EC2 instance you have to use AMI, that is Amazon Machine Image, okay, from which this instance will be launched. And each AMI has got specific details, for example which platform it is based on. So this particular instance was launched using this Linux platform, and the name of this AMI is this one. Then launch time, after this there is a AMI location, that is the AMI location. Termination protection is disabled, monitoring is disabled. Then virtualization type is HVM, number of virtual CPUs 1. So all this information is given here in this detail section. Next one is security. So here it will show all the security groups associated with this particular instance, and inbound and outbound rules as well. So you can see there are inbound and outbound rules are also being shown. So in inbound rules you can see that people outside of AWS can hit this particular EC2 instance on this port. So these ports are basically opened. So that is what we have mentioned in this inbound rules. So let us say if you want to run any other application on say port number 81, then you will have to open that port in inbound rules. And in the outbound rules, let us see what we have got. So it is saying that port range all protocol. That means from EC2 it can access anything outside of the AWS, so it can access any internet resource. So that is what this outbound rules says. The next one is networking, where we have got the networking IDs, for example VPC ID, virtual private cloud ID, and subnet ID. So you can see VPC ID is there, subnet ID. So basically it is your own network inside AWS, so that you can create. And every EC2 instance is a part of the default VPC. So default VPC is created whenever you create an EC2, and then next time when you launch another EC2, for example, then you can add that one into your VPC, that is virtual private cloud. Next one is storage, like how you want to save your data. So right now this EC2 instance is backed by the EBS, that is elastic block storage. What it means is that whenever you restart your EC2 instance, still your data will be persisted. And there is another root device type, that is instance stored back, where every time you restart your instance, data is wiped out. So based upon your requirement you can create this storage, EBS or instance store. And then status checks, as I earlier told you, every EC2 instance can have a status checks. Basically it will check if the instance is running properly or not, and based upon that it will fire the alarms. We can also monitor the EC2 as well based upon the statistics, for example network traffic, then disk operations, CPU uses, CPU utilization, status check failed or not. So based upon that we can take some action. For example, if CPU utilization hits above say 90%, then let us say you want to get an email notification. So that kind of thing can be done using SNS, that is simple notification service. So you can do that for each of these things like network traffic, disk operation, CPU credit usage, CPU utilization, status checks, etc. I think that's it for now. If you have more questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.